Hey, how's it going? Nick here, back for a new video, doing something a little different. Like I said in my last video, I'm in a time of experimentation, and today I'm more or less going to be showing you some experimentation around storyboarding, some rough storyboarding. Um, I don't even really have a dedicated process for how I storyboard. They're all a little different, and it's usually in pen and paper on my desk, and I kind of just go all over the place and put together something. But today I'm trying to do something a little more quote unquote formalized, and basically have a container for the storyboarding process, which who knows, like I could go in and start showing you some storyboarding and then all of a sudden go to a sketch screen and then back to storyboarding. I don't know. I also don't know how long I'm going to make this video. I'm going to just kind of follow the energy inside of this recording and stop when I want. But just a little heads up about what you're going to see. Basically, I'm going to introduce you to the beginning of a video that I'm creating for my website, nicknevada.com. And it's going to be on my homepage. It's kind of like a positioning style video, just kind of showing the core skill that I bring to all my services, which are graphic recording or sketch notes, animated video, and illustration. So this is kind of like the visual thinking engine. It's kind of like what this message is around, and this video is kind of going to start seeing. You're going to just see the very beginning of it. You're not going to understand where it's going to go quite yet, and that's just part of like, because that's for me to know and me to show later at a later time. But you get a peek into kind of like where the direction is going to go. So what I'll do is I'll start with just showing you the lyric or the voiceover that I'm gonna storyboard today. I don't know if I'm gonna get to all of it. We'll see. Depends, again, how I'm feeling with the time thing. And then I'm gonna play it for you so you get to hear it. And then after that, I'm gonna go to my iPad screen inside of Procreate, and you'll get to see me sketch it live. And so I just have maybe like a mental idea of direction. I have not sketched out any real visuals or really any scenes or anything like that. I just kind of have an idea of a mental direction. So this is experimental for me, in that like I'm not coming here with hard plans when it comes to the content, just a little bit of planning for the context so that things unfold at some sort of reasonable way. So with that, let me show you the first screen, and this is going to be what I'm going to storyboard to. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here it is. The idea, or the main idea, is most ideas float by, meaning like, an idea can be just, a lot of ideas are just background noise, they don't really stick out, they don't really stand out or stick. And so it's like most ideas just float by. That's the first line, but it doesn't have to be that way. Hey, I'm Nick Nevada. Welcome to my site. This won't be a bunch of hot air. So you don't really know what that means or the visuals, but as we get into the storyboarding, you'll see what I mean by I have a general idea of mental direction, but it's not fleshed out visually or anything like that. So this is 4 lines. I think it's around 10 to 12 seconds. I don't know. But now what we're going to do is I'm going to move my little camera down of me talking, and then it's going to go to, we'll do the audio play. So let me move this down here. 1 second. There we go. Let me move that down just a little bit right there. And then we're going to change this to this. Okay. And let me play this for you. I'd already been listening to it. Okay, here we go. Make sure the volumes are good. Good. Turn on I don't know if that changes on the video, but maybe just for me. All right, so here we go. Most ideas just float by, but it doesn't have to be that way. Hey, I'm Nick Nevada. Welcome to my site. This won't be a bunch of hot air. Okay, so it's 12 seconds, and just a heads up, this is like a rough voiceover too. It's just so that I can kind of record to it and maybe work out timing for the video as I start to kind of storyboard for it. I don't really know where it's gonna go or what I'm exactly gonna do. But again, this is just general rough storyboarding. So I'll let you hear it one more time just so you can kind of just get a sense of it. Hold on a second.
Most ideas just float by, but it doesn't have to be that way. Hey, I'm Nick Novato. Welcome to my site. This won't be a bunch of hot air.
Okay, there you go. So you've seen the screen, you've seen the visual or the visual of it, then you've heard it. Now we're gonna go to a storyboarding screen. So let's do that. Here is the storyboarding screen. This is inside of After Effects, and I can zoom in a little bit like that. And also a good thing about Procreate, yeah, I can pull in a reference, which I've got here, and it shows me the lyrics or whatever that I was looking at. So I'm really just going to start with that first line of most ideas just float by. And I'm starting with this one little square here. So just a little backstory here. Let's make sure my things are here. They're good. So I'm going to show, this looks like two thoughts inside of one thought, like most ideas just float by. So I got to set the scene with most ideas just, and then kind of like show the action with float by. That's kind of what I'm thinking here. So maybe on this one, I'm just going to write at the top, we'll just say most ideas just, we'll stop there. And so the idea, the mental direction I had was like that, okay, let's put a little like line here. I don't know if this is gonna stick in the inversion, but I want like a little scene. I'm thinking maybe something like mountains. And I'm trying to introduce the idea of an idea to start with. So we all kind of think of an idea as like a light bulb. So I'm thinking just light bulb shapes. Put a little color in there, just so you can see it better. Now it'll be interesting when I do the, I'll put some action lines here to show movement. The thing is, and it's just starting, so the video starts and it's like, okay, so these ideas are floating. Maybe I'll put a little dash here to show some differentiation here. But there's not a lot of detail because I'm keeping it ambiguous for a reason, and you're gonna see you're gonna see here in a second. But I'll maybe put, because remember that this is the beginning shot. I don't quite know if I want to show everything like an established shot, like there's things are just floating already, or they're coming into the screen or floating. But for now, I'll just put one more over here, and let's just say they've been floating, and there's nothing special about any of what these may be as ideas, I guess. And then, yeah, so that's the idea, our beginning idea. I don't know, maybe I'll put some clouds or something. So let's pull out here for a second. So now I'm gonna move this over move that just here in the middle. So I guess the big thing here is just floating by. So I'd say maybe here I'd put a, let's say float by. And there's a pause that says most ideas just float by. So maybe I'll put like a wind sound effect in there and put some motion on these little kind of black light bulbs. I don't think they'll be black, they'll probably be gray or like dark gray, but the ideas are just kind of lots of ideas that are just floating by. But maybe as it comes to float by, I'm thinking, I don't know, I'm thinking on the fly. So maybe I think because I know as it comes to this line, but it doesn't have to be that way, I kind of know what I want it to do. I think maybe I'm just gonna get, maybe there'll be an idea that just, so again, let's do it. Let's do a line here. And then maybe it's pulled out even more. The shot is expanded. Maybe you see a little more action or something, I don't know, or not action, just to the scene. And again, kind of like a bunch of ideas floating, let's say. Yeah, I think my biggest concern while shooting this video isn't what I'm doing now or the fact that I'm anything to do with the content. It's more like time and the time things take. I was a little concerned about my speed. I mean, I like kind of how it's going so far. So it's continued to same float by. And maybe that's just, maybe I'm just showing like expansive emptiness, right? So maybe I would take away, maybe, you know, like a desert or something. So maybe I'm kind of sitting inside of like this idea of just ideas floating, and maybe I don't need to do anything intense here and just keep it kind of like a calm invite into the video, like with some stillness. So maybe I'll just make a note here like calm invite or something like that. Calm invite. And the reason I'm kind of setting that, so coming out here, let's move this here, maybe put this up here. Now it's coming into the second line, and I'm thinking, but it doesn't have to be that way. I think I want things to reveal when I say the word but, or but it or something. I'll just say but it. Even though in the voiceover it's sped up a little bit. So I guess the idea that I'm thinking in my head right now that I'm going to tell you about is I'm going to transition. I'm going to put one of these bulbs, like maybe one is going to come really close to the screen, like in front of this over here, how it's nice and expansive like that over here. But then as we move over here, I'm going to do, I feel like a balloon, a light bulb is going to kind of move into the screen like this. So to this, and then maybe you kind of see in the background like that it's. So yeah, I'm actually discovering this live as I'm talking to you, and then we can kind of indicate the other ideas. So the focus is going to be on this bigger idea coming through. So I'm establishing that like something is going to grab our attention. And the voiceover is saying, but it doesn't have to be that way. So oops, sorry about that. So you can see that. So it starts here. Most ideas just float by, get that emptiness, the pause, the emptiness. But let's go ahead right here. Move it up a little bit so you can see a little more. We'll just say it doesn't have to be that way. Looking at the time, almost 15 minutes in. Okay, I'm maybe going for 30 plus minutes. Doesn't have to be that way. And that took a lot more space than I thought, so I didn't use all of it either. So. And I think, so here, when it says it doesn't have to be that way, I think what I'm going to do is I'm revealing, I don't want to get you too sick here, that I'm moving from here, that big kind of butt establishing shot, and I want to reveal that these are not just light bulbs, okay? It is a hot air balloon. So, if you know anything about hot air balloons, they look kind of like this. So the idea, I guess, here is that one thing I'm not going to be showing you is like how I'm going to transition from the light bulb or the light bulb idea to the hot air balloon. And so it doesn't have to be that way. Like, that's kind of like the showing of the hot air balloon is basically showing you like, okay, an idea can stand out as something specific, something that it stands out specifically, and then maybe there can be some, and then you maybe see the tops of the mountains and like some faint. They become much more faint in the background. These ideas that are just floating by. That's not very good over there, but and if you look over here at the words, once it says it doesn't have to be that way, it's like, hey, I'm Nick Nevada. I'm thinking that I'm just gonna put that here on this cell here. I'll just say, hey, I'm Nick, so I don't have to write as much. And then I think what I want to do with that is I want me, the character is Nick, to emerge from that basket. So over here, you know, it's kind of, you don't see anything. But I want, let's get a little bit of a view here, I think. And I don't know if it's going to stay this scale, like, but I want to make it so, let's say this is me in the middle, and got a smile. See, this is where storyboarding's fun, because like I can't really get too much detail this small, and I may have to. So he says, hey, I'm Nick. And you can still see some, maybe there's more mountain here, because as I'm emerging from this, I'm going to add some weight to this balloon, and I want it to come out of the sky a bit, and it's going to start drifting down to announce my arrival here. So I don't know what kind of gesture I may wave. Let's say I did some sort of wave, like that's really not the angle of a wave, but sorry, that's too much eraser size there. And this is where I'd come in beyond rough, and obviously make it more fleshed out and more drawing. But you're just seeing a rough one here, or general storyboard. I wouldn't say it's rough. It's maybe generally rough combination. So really, it's like once I emerge, it says, hey, I'm Nick Nevada. I don't know if there's other things I'm going to do or say visually, like with my emergence. I think I may, let's just put like this little note, like I'm going to put pop up. I'm popping up as the balloon is going down, showing some of this kind of rhythm. And then I just say, welcome to my site. So let's just put welcome. I'm not gonna get all crazy here. And I think what I want to do with this is, instead of me, I think I'm going to come back down to the ground. Let's put a little ground here. I'm going to land. So it's basically saying like, welcome to my site, but you're also going to land. You've landed on my website. Is basically kind of like the double thing. So let's see here. And then at this point, the mountains, maybe I'm in the middle of the mountains, I don't know. But I've landed. The balloon is here. Boom, boom, some motion lines. I might be, I don't know if we'll just say like, hey, what's up? Like, kind of like, hello, my people. Like arms extended or something like that. I don't know. Obviously, I'm really big and this small, but we're just keeping it simple, remember? So I made myself kind of big there, but that's okay. I'm saying welcome to my site. I'm zoomed in. I've landed. You've landed on my website. Yeah, I just don't like that I'm that big, so I feel like I'm gonna just simplify this. Yeah, I mean, see how rough and non-precious this is. The storyboarding process is. It's not like it will get refined. It's just, this is the rough kind of land. And yeah, and I may put something like maybe there's like you see some grass or something to announce my arrival. Like maybe there's like, what's a woodland animal or a ground animal that like a squirrel or a rabbit or what, like a groundhog or something. Yeah, so maybe like a little groundhog. We're just playing around here, like Bob Ross style. Happy little tree, happy little groundhog. So maybe, yeah, this is hard with this. Here, let me just, my pen tip is very large here. So maybe this little woodland creature is here and sees me landing too. Is happy about that. Something to kind of just announce the arrival, something catchy and all that. And then this won't be a bunch of hot air, like, and that's obviously just you can see the whole picture here so far. This won't be a bunch of hot air. So I'll put here, we'll just say bunch of hot air. And we're at 23 plus minutes. We're doing good. The good thing is this will be like my first stab at this, and I'll be able to take this and work on it off camera a little bit more and kind of add some more specificity and more frames and all that stuff and just play with it. So really, the bunch of hot air is the play on the idea of the hot air balloon. And I think what I'll do is the camera will pan a little bit. The balloon will stay as is, land it, but here, and I will have jumped out, I think, because I'm going to be getting into some other stuff later in the video, so I can't stay in the balloon the whole time, but we can just maybe show the mountains I was talking about earlier. Maybe not, I don't know. But let's just say I'm here now as your guide. 1 second. Again, the scale of this is so small that it's hard for me to but I'm just gonna, I'm like kind of, as I've jumped out, I'm sitting here and basically being like, it's in a bunch of hot air, and I'm referencing the balloon as I say that. And that's to say, like, my message isn't gonna be just drivel. It's not just gonna be me jabbering. Hopefully I do a good job at the video and the person watching wants to keep watching. That's kind of so yeah, obviously the scale is way off, but let's just make it a little bit bigger. And yeah, so you'll have to kind of, once I finish the actual video, which maybe I'll come in and do another process video related to the video, like as I get closer to the end or something. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I think I'm just gonna be experimenting with processes, recording and showing more processes. So I just don't know what the. So I can draw a lot better than I'm drawing here, but that's not the point. Is just to communicate the idea. So I'm gonna close this out. This little reference. I'm just gonna let you look at it here as a whole. So really, remember, most ideas just float by. Let me play the audio again, just so you can get a. Here we go.
Most ideas just float by, but it doesn't have to be that way. Hey, I'm Nick Nevada. Welcome to my site.
I land.
This won't be a bunch of hot air.
Okay, so there you go. That's kind of as far as I got here, and now probably off camera I will do this to the rest of the video. Then what I'll probably do is come back and start really looking at the timing. Also make sure that, like, really when I go to the scripting and I record a voiceover, it's going to be my voice, so I got to figure out, make sure I'm happy with the script. And then once I create the final voiceover, like this works for I can just kind of record it, and this just helps me get that general storyboarding, but I'll have to have that final version, and that has the actual timing of the video. So I'll have to think about the beats, if 1 second I gotta think frames, animation frame, like how many frames per second am I gonna do? I think I'll probably do this in a little more drawer friendly thing, like maybe I'll do Procreate Dreams or something like that, and a little bit of After Effects, and then I'll figure a way to piece this video together. So maybe like what I'll do is maybe a follow-up video is just explain some of the pieces and parts as it gets closer to production, like how long the video is, how I'm thinking about through things like that. I'm not promising that. I'm just gonna follow what unfolds, but yeah, I enjoy doing this. I'm hoping you did too. I'm gonna come back to me now, and thank you so much. This has been fun. Thanks for looking at kind of like just a quick way of how I'm thinking visually, how I like to do things when it comes to making visuals. For a long time I've done tons of like book reviews. I did a lot. I have some on my channel, and then I did some I work for a company called Calibrain. You can see a bunch of those book reviews if you go on YouTube and search Calibrain. There's like 20 something reviews. So I did that for a while, but it started here on this channel when I was first doing these kind of playing on ideas. And then when I got into the more professional space and was doing those book reviews, it was like I didn't lose it. It just became more like grounded and smarter with the help of calibration of others, and I think that was very valuable. But I'm excited to kind of like play more with ideas here on my own work. I may get into some book stuff again. I just have to find the books that I really resonate with after going on my own kind of lived experience and seeing what really works for me. So yeah, if you're a subscriber, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for watching. And yeah, I'll see you next time. All right.